All right, hello all, it's Anne here, and warmly welcome to this live. So, if you are new to my channel is support channel for all the caffeine quitters. So that is the main thing what I do here in my channel. I will support all the caffeine quitters in their withdrawal journey and also in their post-acute withdrawal journey. And that is what I have been doing already a while. And myself now I am like 4 years and next month 5 months. So I'm getting close to 4.5 years and I'm doing good. And I thought that now, because I haven't done English live for a while, I was thinking that now it's time to like come back and just, come here and bring you some like motivation and reassurance that you will all get better and you will get well. And of course, if anyone wants to join in the chat, I'm very happy about to hear how are you doing. So please do that. And I also do all kind of other videos now in my channel about topics that I'm interested about. And lately I have been also starting to read Bible in Finnish, but I will read Bible in the future in my channel in English too, because like I have been doing those videos that I did find Jesus in my life lately, so that has been the best gift ever for me. So that's what have been going on in my life. But what comes to post-acute withdrawal recovery, I'm pretty much done with that. I will say that I'm like 90%. I'm pretty sure that by 5 I will be like completely healed, but I don't have anything to complain about. Like, I feel most of the time pretty good, happy, motivated. I every now and then I feel still a little bit irritability around my periods and a little bit like tiredness, but those are the symptoms pretty much that I have left what comes to anxiety and all those hundreds of symptoms. So little bit of irritability every now and then, and like some tiredness. And what I have been also noticing lately, that my memory have been improving still, which is kind of great, and my energy levels are still have been improving. So for that I'm just really happy and excited about. And next month I will also start to go to the gym again, and I don't have anything to complain. I have to say, I'm just thank for God for every day that I can be here and support you. And I have been putting all in with this supporting work, and of course I will continue to do that. But anyway, now I thought that we're gonna first watch one video. That video is one Dr. Joseph. You probably have been seeing his videos if you are caffeine quitter who suffer from POVs. So POVs is post-acute withdrawals, which means the state when your brain and body still keeps healing after chronic drug abuse. And for some people that unfortunately can be a long time. For some people it's not just months, it's actually years. And I know that this can sound like how that can be, like how can that be happening with caffeine, but yeah, it's happening with caffeine too. And now even more and more when energy drinks are all over the place, and the caffeine industry is just putting that poison everywhere, like more and more in the mainstream media also. So more and more caffeine quitters are ending up this recovery journey. Not everyone will suffer post-acute withdrawal symptoms, which of course it's a very good thing, but unfortunately many will suffer for those. And I was one of those people that I was like caffeine addict since very small child, and my doses was really high. And you know that if you have been watching my videos, because I have been always telling that I was like heavy addict, and that it is true, really true. So I went cold turkey, like 1,000 milligrams a day, probably more or less, because I cannot say what was exact my dose, because it did change, but I was a really heavy addict, and going cold turkey for me, it was even it is dangerous. I don't recommend that. I always recommend please taper slowly. It's more safer, especially if you have been using high amounts of caffeine a long time. So, but it's for some people, even they cold turkey, they don't necessarily end up in the pub. So that's not happened to everyone, but it can happen. And yeah, so it did happen to me. So it was quite a shock, like, that I was just living my life and very busy and, working out and stuff like that. Even I did have OCD, and I wasn't like now happy and all the time. Like some ways I feel like I'm a new person. Of course, some of that is probably also because I did get born again with the Christ, but I can surely see that how different I am without caffeine. I wasn't in optimal state. I was burning in the candle in both sides. And if I would have continued that, my caffeine addiction, that would be like very detrimental, like very bad for me. So I'm just so happy to being free. And sometimes I even think that did I go through all that? Sometimes, because now I'm starting to forget. So like sometimes now I have this my notebook where I have all my symptoms, and I will go through that because every now and then I just wanna do this support work where I just go through my symptoms, so you can like you know that what I went through, and some of you are there right now having all of those horrible symptoms. So I just wanna reassurance you that those all are normal and they go away, because it did happen to me too, and I was just so lonely with those symptoms too, and I thought that how this can be, and is this never ending? So just know that you are not alone, and symptoms will go away. But yeah, like for coming a little bit back to that cold turkey, what I did happened to me, it was like it was kind of a really big shock, because I didn't, of course, know that caffeine is a poison and a drug. And I just thought that I have a brain injury. That's what I actually thought, because it feels like a neurological injury, but even it's not a permanent injury. It's just like temporary state where your nervous system is kind of high wire, and your nervous system is like in that very sensitized state when like I want to picture it like, think about that there is factory in your brain, that when you are in caffeine, the factory works like it's have been adapted while you have been using the drug. And most of us, when we have been using it many years, the factory have been adapting. There have been some changes happening with the neurotransmitters, receptors, and other brain chemistry, how those neurons communicate with each other. So I like to picture it like this way. And then when we suddenly quit the drug, and the factory is like, what the heck is happening? Why the drug is not coming in anymore? We don't know what to do. And some of us, it just means that all those messages, they are not going there where they should go. They are just misfiring, like the like chemical shitstorm going on there in your brain, and that can feel just so horrible because you don't know what's happening. And I know it's really hard place to be when you don't know what is happening in your brain chemistry, and you don't have those calming neurotransmitters to calm you down. They don't just work like that, or the messages are not going through like normally. When you are in normal state, if something stressful happens, your nervous system knows how to calm down. You will calm down. You are not dizzy, you don't have brain fog, you are not scared, you don't have intrusive thoughts, you don't have horrible stomach issues, you don't have neck pain, back pain, all, name it. We're gonna go in the symptoms in a minute. But when your nervous system is like high wiring, it's misfiring, like it feels like you are in the bubble. You are in that bubble that everything is a danger and everything is a threat, and you are like just full with those negative thoughts, and you are just wondering that every people are just living in their life, and you think that I was one of them. Even I was in caffeine addict, but I was one of them. I was able to do all these stuff and function, and now I'm here all alone, and I don't know what the hell has happened to me. And that what is Post-Acute withdrawals all about for many people. So we're gonna now watch that one video before I speak too much, and then we're gonna go a little bit those symptoms, and you can ask whatever comes to your mind in the chat. So let's see. And of course I will link all these videos what I show you below this video, so you can find more information there. Okay, but you probably know this Dr. Joseph. But of course, I want to also say that if there is benzo quitters in my channel also, I will share a lot of in this benzo material in benzo world, because these things that I'm explaining and I did experience and many of you are experiencing are just very well explained in the benzo communities and benzo world. Even it's benzo withdrawal, but we can relate that so much because it's all about the brain healing and the body healing, what comes to that. And so that's why I'm showing this. And because we don't have this kind of caffeine-free doctors, we should be, maybe in the future we have, but okay, let's see this now.
That doesn't receive enough attention: protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal. So what is it, and more importantly, how can you prevent it? Let's dive in. Protracted withdrawal is a term used to describe a set of symptoms that can persist for months, sometimes even years after stopping benzodiazepines. It differs from the initial withdrawal phase, which typically only lasts a few weeks.
Hi Christopher, nice to see you. Yes, Dr. Joseph has such an informative channel. Yes, he does. It's really good to watch. I recommend that.
For a long time, protracted withdrawal from benzodiazepines was not recognized by the professional community. However, recently, more articles on this condition and its treatment have been published in the peer-reviewed literature. Perhaps the most authoritative recognition of this condition was by the FDA in 2020, when they mandated that all drug companies making benzodiazepines finally include a description of the risk in the labels. So what is protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal? It's best understood as a neurological injury and not a normal withdrawal syndrome. In a typical withdrawal syndrome from other drugs like opiates, the symptoms resolve in about 2 to 6 weeks and they go away if you restart the drug. However, once protracted withdrawal develops, it can take years to resolve and does not.
And let's pause a little bit that, because that is so true. And I always hear some people who end up this journey that they are like, Anni, how this can be? I quit caffeine and I'm like this and this months free and I still had these symptoms. And when I Google the caffeine withdrawal symptoms, the internet says it should be like over in 2 weeks. But this is not the case in so many cases. So that's why this information is very, very important to share. So please share this my channel also if you have any like friends or family members who suffer post-acute withdrawals. It's always good to share this information, so they know that they are not alone in this. And hello, Jakob.
Not go away even if you restart the drug. Although the condition is best known as protracted withdrawal, many actually prefer to use the title BIND, benzodiazepine-induced neurological dysfunction, since using the word withdrawal in the illness name can be confusing for doctors and families unfamiliar with the condition. Many people, when they hear the word withdrawal, assume the condition will resolve quickly or that the symptoms will simply disappear if you get back on the drug. But this is not the case, because protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal is more like a brain injury. So why does protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal injury, or BIND, occur? Well, it typically occurs in response to severe withdrawal symptoms, although some cases have gradually occurred in the setting of long-term chronic use. In these instances, it is hypothesized that the injury develops due to a cumulative injury from interdose withdrawal. However, the most common development of this condition follows severe withdrawal syndromes after a rapid taper or a cold turkey detox. This suggests that severe withdrawal symptoms can be damaging to the nervous system and place people at risk of developing this condition. It is important to note that the majority of people who experience severe withdrawal symptoms from benzodiazepines do not develop protracted withdrawal, but it is currently unknown why it only happens to some. Some theoretical risk factors for developing this condition would include any risk factors that might place someone at risk of a more severe acute withdrawal symptoms. These can be things like older age due to the reduced neuroplasticity and less biological capacity for the brain to quickly readapt to the removal of the drug. Other risk factors may include being on the drug for decades or being on a very high dose, because these would suggest additional adaptations in the brain to accomplish.
And like we know, like many of us caffeine quitters, if you have been using caffeine like a long time, high dose, and even some people, I know people that haven't been even using caffeine so long time, and they still end up this pause journey. Some of them maybe because they cold turkeyed, some of them just for some reason, because this is something that you don't just know exactly why some people have this, but there are some certain factors that can be. And then of course, the longer you use and the more you use, the more your brain adapts, more your body have to adapt. So that can be a huge factor. I think that was the one factor for me, because being just a long time with that drug, and caffeine is really, really bad for you in so many ways. And if you haven't read the book Caffeine Blues, please start with that. Start with that information. I have been translating that book also in my own language, which is Finnish, in my channel. So there is all the things that caffeine does to your body. It's bad for in every single way. It's bad for your, it's poison your cells. It's it will what is the word, affects those blood vessels in your brain. It makes them thicken. It's smaller. You blood cannot flow in your brain. Your brain will not get enough oxygen, not enough nutrients. It affects it's like a liquid stress. It makes you angry, irritability, you will have anxiety, you have depression, you will start to just not be yourself when you are chronic caffeine addict. It will change your personality, it will change you so many ways, and that usually happens with time, slowly, without person even notice it, that when you become a caffeine addict and victim of the caffeineism, which is the word of that chronic addiction, you are actually victim of the caffeineism. And caffeineism, a state of the chronic poisoning. It's a chronic poisoning which will affect you in all levels. And the book called Caffeine Blues is explaining to you all the ways that caffeine is affecting you. So please check that out if you are new to this caffeine stuff.
Accommodate the long use or also the high doses, and that would be more difficult to undo when the drug was removed. Other risks can be things like taking stimulant medications during the time of withdrawal, which are typically removed before withdrawing people, as the additional stimulation that's there can be damaging once you remove the sedative break, that is the benzodiazepine. Symptoms of protracted withdrawal can be severe and disabling, and they can include a wide range of neurological and psychiatric symptoms, such as severe anxiety, intense pacing or restlessness, known as akathisia, cognitive impairment, dissociation.
And this severe anxiety is, I think, one of the biggest thing that people are suffering with this post-acute withdrawal. At least for me, the other symptoms I could have taken, even the pain, even the some physical stuff, but the severe, even those are under the anxiety umbrella. Pretty much all the symptoms you can put there under this condition, which is temporary, which is not permanent, which is just this chemical shitstorm going on in your brain when your nervous system is misfiring. But anyway, the people who reach out for me for help, the biggest reason is always that severe anxiety and the fear and those intrusive thoughts and the fear that is this gonna be a permanent? Is this gonna be the state where I'm always? And for that, I'm here to say it's not. It's not something, the permanent diagnosis that you have to live forever after. No, it's the state where you are now, and that state will end, and you will come back better, stronger, having better energy, better mood, better focus, better concentration. You are just better in every ways than you were in addiction. Because addiction, it's kind of a snake. If you have been reading a Bible, there is a snake that is like a Satan or devil, But it's like that, like it slowly comes into your life, and it's slowly starting to take you down. But because caffeine is so, like, in our society is so common, everybody used it, it's so romanticized. I was sharing in one live that I did finish, like one live that I did, Caffeine Quitter Support Live, that I was sharing my old pictures where I was always with the like I didn't have the cup of coffee, but I was just showing pictures how I did look in the caffeine addicts. I didn't look like sick or like bad, but that's the main, like, what is the word, like, trap. It's a trap because it affects you slowly. You cannot see necessarily it before you get old. But when you get more older and older, you just think, oh, I have Parkinson's disease. Oh, I have Alzheimer's. Oh, this is just the old age. But nobody it's not looking what caffeine actually does. We speak about so much other poisons and other things, but caffeine is a one huge thing in our society. I'm sorry for speaking so long. We're gonna take now chat because Christopher, you have questions. So wait a second, I will take a chat. So, what Christopher says, I have a friend who gets migraine headaches. The drug the doctors have him actually contains caffeine, which is mind-blowing to me. A drug that makes your problem worse over time. Yes, isn't that crazy? And doctors are just describing these medications. It's so horrible. Like they are describing benzos for many, and so many people are injured also because benzos is horrible. At 2 years and 4 months of caffeine, I have a lot of less anxiety now. Yay! Yes, that's so good. You are doing great work. Amazing. Just keep up the good work. Soon you are completely symptom-free for sure. Yes, but we're gonna now try to continue with this video.
Neuropathic pain like numbness, tingling, or shock-like sensations, internal feelings of vibration, ear ringing or tinnitus, and light sensitivity. Because protracted withdrawal is a neurological injury rather than a simple withdrawal issue, the recovery time is unpredictable. While some recover in less than 12 months, many are still recovering several years after their injury.
And one thing that I also say that for benzo quitters, it can be even, I have to say for some, it can be even more of the hell. So for some benzo quitters, it can take even longer time of healing, but it of course depends on the person, and like I said, it's not the same for everyone, but what I have been like watching those videos and stuff, that benzos are also like they are like hell of a poison, and it can be even much more harder than some of us, because many of those benzo quitters can even end up in the hospital and have psychosis and stuff. Okay, Jaakko asks Christopher, what's the name of the drug?
The best way to prevent protracted withdrawal injury is to come off these medications with a slow taper. You want to avoid going into severe withdrawal because it's thought that these withdrawal symptoms are really the things that lead to the neuronal injury that causes protracted withdrawal. As a general rule of thumb, reducing the dose by 5 to 10% of the previous dose per month and holding when moderate withdrawal symptoms emerge appears to be the safest strategy for most people to come off. This method will allow the brain to adapt gradually to the absence of the drug, minimizing the risk of having any severe withdrawal symptoms. The most important piece to be aware of is that the highest risk period for severe withdrawal and potentially developing protracted withdrawal is at the lower doses of the drug. Dr. Mark Horowitz's research, which analyzed brain scans for drug receptor occupancy at the different doses of psychiatric medications, essentially showed that at lower doses, a small reduction in psychiatric medications can result in a large drop in receptor binding. This means that a seemingly smaller reduction can cause a significant increase in withdrawal symptoms. For example, reducing a dose of Xanax from 6 milligrams to 4 milligrams could be seen as a large 2 milligram reduction, but it might only reduce receptor binding by 10%, while reducing from 1 milligram to half a milligram may seem much like a smaller reduction, a half a milligram drop, but it might change receptor binding by up to 50%.
Okay, so that is so important to go slow. I do recommend that, but I know with caffeine, for some people it can be just confusing, like how I start to taper, like I'm just a high dose, but I recommend you to go the Quitting Caffeine Facebook page if you have Facebook. I don't have Facebook anymore, but there is a like that group called Quitting Caffeine. So I'm sure that there is still a lot of people who have been tapering slowly. So you can ask advice for there, or then you can just start to slowly reduce your dose. Maybe you wanna change to green tea, or some people want to change to decaf, and they just slowly start to reduce, like slowly taper the dose, and then like watch how you feel, that it's not too rapid to taper. But some of us who have this like the shock cold turkey thing that happened to us, this like kind of neurological temporary injury, we just not could have gone back and do that anymore, because the kind of the damage has already happened. So for us it's just, and I wouldn't even not want to go. I was just so it was so horrible. I was just so terrified that I'm gonna die. But anyway, for us too, all the symptoms will go away, but for many, for this shock anxiety, who have this shock anxiety, it's just like it can be more intense, and it can just take a while. Okay, now for chat, because so yeah, Christopher said, Jaakko, I don't know the name of it, but he described it to me several times. If he wakes up in the middle of the night with a crushing migraine, he has to take it, but then can't go back to sleep. He also told me that he knows it makes the migraines worse of the time. Yes, because it is like caffeine narrows those blood vessels in the brain, and like when the migraines are because when you quit caffeine, those blood vessels in the brain are opening again, and the blood can start to flow in the brain. That's why you have the migraines. That's why people who have caffeine withdrawals, even if they wouldn't have the POPs, I did have migraines pretty much all this journey. Even in the beginning, they were just so bad. But anyway, part of that was also, I think, my hormones fluctuating. Because it was always time during my period or ovulation when I had the migraines, like now in those past like few years. But anyway, so that is one that doctors, they describe the medication that there's caffeine in it, because people have been noticing that when they take caffeine, their migraines actually goes away, and those blood vessels goes like narrow, like smaller again. But it doesn't solve the problem. Like Christopher, you said, in the long term, the migraines will get worse for some people. And I know people who use caffeine and they have a migraines, but you cannot make everyone to quit if they don't want to. Okay, Rainer Garjika, hi, I am day 74 and it's been hell and the scariest thing I ever been experiencing. Yes. First of all, congratulations. 74 days, that's amazing. And of course, sorry to hear that you also have to experience this. But just know that you are doing an amazing job, and this is all part of this, dysregulation, temporary dysregulation, when our nervous system is just haywire and all the brain chemistry is messed up. But I promise you, and this I promise from the heart, it will go away when you just keep up the good work and stay away from the caffeine and all mind-altering drugs. So, it's Sumatra. Yeah, and we have to remember there in America, there can be also, I think, Christopher, you maybe probably, we can have the same medications, some, but it can be that you probably can be even there have more medications that contains caffeine. But that's just like, I think it's horrible that doctors are describing those, because it doesn't solve the problem. It's just like the quick fix, but never solving the root
This
cause.
could result in higher symptoms, even though the person doing the drop thinks that the reduction is much smaller.
Because why would you give somebody to something that is actually probably causing the reason? Like, you cannot cure something with the poisoning anyone. You cannot do that.
Mark's imaging findings have been further supported by the lived experience of many people who had increased difficulties tapering off the final few milligrams of their medications. So consequently, the most important advice is to taper cautiously in a way that avoids severe withdrawal symptoms, and especially towards the end of the taper, where the risks of developing severe withdrawal symptoms are the highest. You need to really go slow then. If you are already experiencing protracted withdrawal, the most important thing is to not lose hope, although the condition can be severe and extremely uncomfortable.
You cannot lose hope. So many people are going through the same that you are now. So many others. So I went through that, and I know there is many out there and new people coming. So just know you are not alone.
It has a good prognosis.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of people gradually improve over several years and go on to live normal lives. This is due to the innate neuroplasticity of the brain, which really does have the capacity to heal. During recovery, it is crucial to stay engaged with your support network, explore symptom management therapies, and focus on activities that keep you busy and distracted. Importantly, try to not overwhelm your caregivers, as caring for someone with protracted withdrawal can be very challenging. Ensure that they are also engaged in activities they enjoy to prevent burnout. As we wrap up, remember that protracted withdrawal is an uncommon reaction, not a certainty of rapid tapering. If you have been through a rapid taper, it is very likely that you won't develop protracted withdrawal injury. Despite this, unless there is a really good reason for a rapid taper, like a serious side effect, a slow and symptom-led taper will reduce your risk of developing protracted withdrawal. If you are looking for more tips on the best way to taper while
Okay, so that was the main thing what I wanted to show you. And but yeah, even I know that some, and that doctor also said that it's not very common, but for caffeine quitters also, what I have been seeing, it actually quite many people will end up having post-acute withdrawal symptoms. But maybe it's just because I'm doing this work, and in my channel all the people who are pretty much following this will have these post-acute withdrawal symptoms. But I have to say it's not so rare, because even younger people, like I'm 41 now, but even people in their 20s, some of them are going through post-acute withdrawal. So it's not necessarily that person have been using caffeine like for decades or like for really long time. It's just for some, it just happens. So caffeine is very potential, powerful drug. But of course, people not always wanting to hear that, but it is. So just know it's normal. So now we're gonna go a little bit, and you can keep asking questions or whatever, and I will just go through a little bit those symptoms, because like I said, I don't have like anymore anything, these intense symptoms. I don't. And even when I read this, like I said, it's like, did it really happen to me? Because you really, when you go through this, you will go back to your normal life. You don't have PTSD for this. It's not, even those benzo coaches who have, that one Dr. Chen, who is a benzo coach, she went through really long, heavy withdrawals, I think 8 years or something, after she did recovered. And she said that she don't have any PTSD or anything. She's just living very normal, happy life. So that shows that our brain is neuroplastic, and our brain can heal from even long drug abuse. But one thing that is always important to say for me in my channel, that what I do recommend the people who if you have these POFs, that you also stay away from all mind-altering drugs, because we cannot know how they affect to your healing. Also, what comes to caffeine, I hope you already know that chocolate contains caffeine. If not, that is very important that you have been also quit all the sources of caffeine, chocolate included, because that if you still take a little bit caffeine here and there, or you think that chocolate is not so bad, it can still interrupt your brain healing. And other drugs too can do that, interrupt that brain healing. So, but of course, if you have other addictions, like nicotine and alcohol and like benzos or whatever. I understand that it can be for some people too much to quit all those drugs. So then you just have to make the decision what drug you are quitting first and go with that. And I'm supporting you even if you cannot quit all at once. And maybe then also like if it's really hard for you to even think to quit caffeine, that tapering slowly is always the safest way, like I said. But if you are like many of us, that you suffer these very, very intense symptoms, I do recommend that then the best way is just stay away from all mind altering drugs, and also not maybe take any supplements, because I don't recommend supplements, because just reason that some people have had really bad reactions, adverse reactions from those, for example, like vitamin B vitamins or magnesium or some of that. It's not happening to everyone, of course, and I'm not wanting to scare anyone. That's the last thing that now people are, I'm gonna die if I take some supplements. No, but I just wanna say that what I have been hearing, just to like give you this information. What I personally think, I don't use supplements. I quit them when I was 2 years on. Also after that, I don't remember when I took my last paracetamol, but it's been about 2 years ago for like migraine. Even I have had like some migraines after that, but I have been just not needing them. So I just really recommend that you will try to take your nutrients from the food, like your body knows how to take those nutrients from the food if you eat like pure food. Some people have been asking me what means the processed foods, like what does that mean. So basically what I do recommend you to like the pure foods, like make your foods yourself, like don't buy the packaged food, like try to make like buy the organic meat if you can, and the vegetables like organic if you can, and clean water is important, of course. Like these are like the just like very like common sense things what comes to any healing process, that you just take a good care of your body, move, do exercise what you can. But like for me, I was just so disappointed and scared because I couldn't do exercise like I did before, so I did have to take slow. So that's why I always say maybe walk, or if you can. And if you cannot even walk, that's okay. Some people can have just so severe anxiety that they cannot even walk. For me, it was like I just had to do something because I had so much adrenaline and cortisol, and my anxiety was more than like that panic and fear anxiety. So for me, actually, the walking was the thing that I could do, kind of like to spend my days. But okay, what Rinor say, the most frustrating thing is that the people around me don't think it's the big of a deal. Yes, it's so frustrating, I know. Sorry to hear that. I really know what you mean. They just, because they don't see inside of our brain, they just see that the person is there, like the shell of Anni or you is there, but it's just like, and many of people, they just think that it's mental illness. Even my own family, they don't, even this day, they don't understand what I went through. They just can't. It's not possible, because if you don't go through it by yourself, so that's why I want to say that you are not alone, and they just don't know. And I also want to say, if some of the loved ones are watching these my lives, and you don't go through what I'm going through, like for example, me and my boyfriend, we did quit caffeine cold turkey, because I make him the cold turkey kind of like the same day, and he was still back then smoking a lot of and weed, and he's still on cigarettes. But anyway, he didn't end up this like really high anxiety past journey. He did have depression and like some withdrawal symptoms for sure, and he's really happy. He's still caffeine-free, and now he still have cigarettes, but he's weed-free also. But anyway, so he didn't experience all this hell what I went through, but he was still very supportive, and without him I couldn't have managed, like because I couldn't do anything. Some days I couldn't even go to the grocery store. So he was like bringing the food when I couldn't go to the store, and he was helping me financially and all that stuff. So I do understand so well what is like to be in this state, and I was just lucky that I have him. Even it sure wasn't easy. Like I said, I actually did one Finnish video where I did speak about like low libido and just not having any emotions in like withdrawals, just not feeling anything, not any normal things. I had that too. Like all these years, I couldn't be the normal person, and of course that did affect too the relationship. But we have been able to stay friends during this, and we are still friends living together, so I'm really happy for that. But I know that it's not for that, like for every people, because I know that it can be also really confusing for if you have a partner and before this happens, this neurological injury, which I call it, it's not permanent, temporary, but it can be like you are living normal life and you have your own rhythms and studies and works and whatever, and then suddenly everything goes like I always describe that I was functional and then my life just turned around because of this. And that is affecting, of course, the relationships, but I will say you, whatever, if you lose relationships in this, even if you lose everything in this, you will get that back. You will, and you will be like a new person. I promise you. It's not gonna last. And then you really know who the true friends are. After this, you know who the true friends are. If there is a true friends, this is the like really challenging experience. But okay, I'm always talking too much. That's a kind of my character now. But okay, I will go to the symptoms. So I would say all the, like I had like tons of migraines. I have tons of like those stomach issues. Those are all now go. I can pretty much eat what I want. I don't eat like dairy or gluten, but those were the things that I didn't eat even before this time. Like I did quit gluten like in my when I was 24 or something. Dairy I can eat now, but it's just my own choice that I sometimes, if I wanna eat that, I can eat, but I don't eat that all the time. It's not like part of my diet, but I can eat food. I have been eating in the restaurants, going out. I don't have social anxiety. I can go like out and eat, and I can eat a pizza, no problem. My digestion works fine. But in this journey, it was just like it didn't matter what I did eat, what I didn't eat. It was a constant hell. So the stomach issues, I have always that burping feeling. I had to burp all the time. I felt like that was very embarrassing to me. I didn't want to go anywhere. I always had like constipation, diarrhea, just like very uncomfortable feelings in my stomach. That was so weird. My stomach was just never feeling fine. I was just always, what is wrong with my stomach? I remember when I had periods, I was just lying in the bathroom floor and crying, and I was thinking that if this is gonna be my life, I'm gonna just not gonna deal with this. And so it's really normal to have all these stomach issues. Then of course I had all those heart palpitations, and I thought that I'm having a heart attack because I had panic attacks, and I hadn't even had panic attacks never before. Even I was high addict of caffeine, I didn't have panic attacks while I was caffeine addict. Not like this, never. And I also want to say, if you are wondering all these symptoms and can this really be from the caffeine quitting, and can this really be from the pops, I just want to say that I ask you one question. Did you have these symptoms before? Or did it started after? Because for me, this started after. Only thing that I had before was like those very intense, intrusive thoughts in my life, and depression, and that. But I was still able to deal with life and do stuff. So also because I sometimes get the comments and they just say, but it's that roller coaster ride is just normal part of the life. That's just normal part that you have sometimes like bad days. I said, no, this is not just bad days what I'm describing. This is hell on earth. This is hell on earth. If I have to say, I went already, I could taste what is hell. So now when I'm believing that there's actually hell and heaven, I don't want to go there anymore ever. for eternity in this that kind of hell, it's like no possibility. Thank God for that. So okay, but a little bit humor we have to have. So I also had that insomnia all the time insomnia, night awakening, peeing, going to the peeing. That was hard having insomnia, because of course if you have all the time insomnia, you are not ever feeling refreshed. But anyway, I wasn't feeling refreshed because of these symptoms. So then I was very much emotional. In the beginning, I was just so emotional. I had panic attacks and those fears. Then I had a really bad memory issues. Like I sometimes I hear that people ask me, is being dumb a symptom? Like feeling that you are dumb. Yeah, it's a symptom. You are not dumb. You are sure not dumb. It's a symptom. Like we just feel that when our brain, those messages doesn't go through, and nervous system is in their fight or flight state, and we are just like, there's danger all the time. Our system is just out of the whack. That is just like the consequences of all these past symptoms, like that you just cannot think clearly. Your brain just doesn't work. But I promise you, it's not gonna stay that way. And by the way, if we have been heavy caffeine addicts, and if we would have continued in that way, I'm pretty sure that we could have like a very bad memory issues. We would have had those in the future anyway. But this stuff is temporary, and you will have your memory back. Dissociation, very common. You know what that is? Like not feeling that you are here. You are kind of like feeling that it can be feeling that you are kind of like very kind of disconnected with yourself and with time or with environment. That's also one part of our like the nervous system and how our body is protecting us. It's like part of that fight or flight system. It's one of those ways that our body is reacting to protect us from the danger. That is thought it's thought that we are in constant danger, even we are not. But that's what is our brain, like our nervous system is thinking. So, and of course you have to remember, not everyone who go through this have these high anxiety symptoms. So then if you don't have these anxiety symptoms, that's good. That's of course these videos, then you don't need these. But those who do, it's just normal. And that will also, like, the anxiety will ease with time. And your anxiety will ease. Some people still can have a lot of physical symptoms even after that. Even your mental part starts to feel better, you can still have like the physical symptoms. But it depends on the person. Like I said, also the anxiety symptoms can vary in the person. Some persons can have all these symptoms, what I say. Some people can have just, for example, intrusive thoughts and brain fog, and that's about it. Some people can have that they are really dizzy and they have neck pain, or they just have really bad brain fog. It depends. So just know that whatever you are going through, try not to compare yourself to the others, and try not to just get stuck that you are going to be that way, because you are not. So also the dreams, when you see that you are dreaming to have a drug, either that is benzos, caffeine, alcohol, whatever is your drug of choice, the dreams of having drug is very common. I still have dreams that I'm sometimes eating chocolate in my dreams, then I wake up like, oh my god. But then it's just a dream. And before I did dreams that I was drinking coffee also. So that your brain, that's actually really healthy sign. Many like coaches that are addiction coaches, recovery coaches, they say that one sign that your brain is healing is when you start to have dreams about the drugs that you are using. But let's take the chat. So the same people who are telling me to not to think about too much are still the same people drinking caffeine, so they will never understand it. Yes, so true that they can't understand that. But you know what? You are, because you are doing this work, and it's really, that's why I always say the work, because even going through the days and being alive with these symptoms, that is a hell of a lot of work. Just going through the day, somehow like surviving, living, because you are still living, that is so valuable thing, and you will get through this, you will. But those people who are just like able to live some kind of normal life, even they are on caffeine, they cannot imagine how it feels like, that you feel kind of that your brain is broken. I was just, in the beginning, I was just saying that I have probably a big brain tumor, because I didn't understand anything. That's how I felt. I was just, okay, I must have a brain tumor, because this is not possible that any people feel like that. But then I find Cato's videos, you know, all of you probably know Cato. If you don't know Cato, I will link his videos. So when I found those, I was like, there's other people having this, what I'm having after quitting caffeine. And then I did find the Facebook group. Even I wasn't in Facebook, but my boyfriend was in the Facebook, and I was founding that quitting caffeine Facebook group, and I was like, okay, there is a lot of people who are having post-acute withdrawal after caffeine, and then it slowly started to like clear up with me that what is happening. And here we are. Here we are. Okay, so yeah, the dreams, then the really bad brain fog started for me, it started actually like after 3 months. Before that, the brain fog for me, it wasn't so intense, but after 3 months, 3 to 6 months, like I always said, 6 months completely hell for me, first 6 months. So the 3 to 6 months, the brain fog started to feel like really heavy. I have like also a lot of like depression and depersonalization. Then I started to have a lot of like, I had those blurry vision, like the vision issues, like just a blurry vision. I was difficulties to read or concentrate, whatever was I trying to read. It's never, I couldn't never even understand what I was reading. I was just so, you know, disconnected, and it was just really hard. I was having a lot of flu-like symptoms. So those caffeine toxins started to, like, you know, coming out from my body. So that is really common in the beginning, and that in the beginning for some people it can take really long time before the caffeine toxins will come out for your body, because we know that the byproducts of the caffeine, like theobromine and like paraxanthine and dimethylic urine acid 1, they are restoring our body. Many doesn't know that. Alcohol doesn't restore your body, caffeine does actually, the byproducts, which are having very much same kind of symptoms and caffeine itself has. So when you are detoxing from the caffeine poisons, it can just take time. So you can have all kind of flu-like symptoms, irritations, like having like flu like nausea, irritation, skin issues like pimples, all kind of. So that's part of the detox. And also I did notice that sometimes like exercise can also did flare up my symptoms. So I started to have more detox symptoms after exercise. So a lot of water, it's important. Just drink a lot of water. Even I know it doesn't take the symptoms away, but it can ease a little bit. Like it can a little bit take that top of the intensity away. But then also like very, very confusing thoughts, and that lack of concentration was like, if I have to put percent, like it was like 90% in the beginning, that I have like, I felt that I have that 1% left that I try to concentrate. It was bad. Then I started to have some good moments. We are speaking about always here in my channel, like I did speak about in those videos that I did with Mandy, we did speak about those windows and waves. So if you are completely new what pause are, we speak about windows and waves. So windows are when your symptoms are a little bit less. It doesn't mean that you don't have symptoms. It just means that there are less. Like you feel a little bit more functional. In the beginning, it can be even a few minutes of window when you feel that your symptoms, either some people, the symptoms can in the window go away. That's of course amazing. And then you can function, you can do more stuff. But it can also be like it was for me, that you just have a little windows during the days. I know that some people probably can think, if you have been watching my videos, because I'm always so try to be so positive in my old videos, but I didn't know in those early videos that I make that how long this journey would gonna be. I just didn't know. And of course I was a little bit like, that if I'm gonna share this, people are thinking that I'm crazy, and what if this, what if that. I didn't have the courage so much that I have now. Now I don't care what people are thinking. I don't care. They probably think that I'm crazy anyway, but I just I'm gonna share this because so I know what I went through, and I know what many people are going through, and that's not concern me anymore what people are thinking, because I'm healed, almost healed, 90% healed, and I know I will be 100% by 5 years. So for me, this is just like very important that I can share this information for anyone who needs it. What does the Rinor say? Honestly, your videos and Kato's videos are the only things that gave me reassurance that this normal to feel horrible. Yes, I'm happy to hear that these videos helps, and it really is very, very normal. Just know that caffeine can cause all this. And of course, some followers that I have, they say that they are alcoholics. So some alcoholics, of course, have POS too. So this information's not just caffeine quitters. Also, some people follow my channel who are benzo quitters. So you know that I'm also here for you. So same stuff. Even symptoms can vary a little bit depending what drug we have been into. But the same stuff, basically, the brain healing. So after caffeine quit, then I think when I started to feel a little bit better, it was really hard to me to feel that anhedonia and lack of motivation, lack of creativity, because I used to was like now I am like I have a big imagination. I'm always like, let's do something, or hey, I always find something to do. That's just my mindset. I wasn't like the person that sits around in the home and thinks what to do. But during this, I didn't have any choice. I was just so depressed. I did have a lot of lack of motivation, lack of joy. I was bored. I was always tired. I have so much fatigue. I always felt that I was almost having like that adrenal fatigue syndrome. Like even it's not just many people thinks probably in those groups, quitting caffeine groups, they just can be that some people just speaks that this is just adrenal fatigue. It's not just adrenal fatigue. These POFs are all these neurochemical changes that have been happening in the brain, and when your brain is going back to normal. So that is can be like a lot of symptoms that varies, and the fatigue definitely was one big symptom, but it's not just adrenal fatigue, or it's not just this and that. It's all that brain healing, and the fatigue also did go away. I don't have fatigue anymore. Not that kind of fatigue, never. Of course, like I said, some tiredness, but that's different, because when I had hard fatigue, it felt like almost that it was hard to go to take a shower. It was hard to put clothes on. It's something that you don't even know how to describe to someone else who haven't gone through that. So also that is very common. So then also like constant thirst, caffeine dehydrates you really, really bad. So I also have constant thirst, but I think the constant thirst was also part of the high anxiety, because if you have high anxiety, it can be that you are thirsty all the time. Then of course the good things because always we have to, I know that this sounds like this is a lot, here, but I just want to go there, like the good things, because we have, like, we are still living. We have to think that even during this we are still living, we are still alive, and I do believe that God take care of us. That is what I believe, and God did take care of me too, so God will take care of you too if you believe in God. And even if you won't believe in anything, I will say, because there is a lot of people, some believe God, some don't believe, we have paths, we have something common, we have paths, and paths will go away with time. I have seen that they go. So we can pray, we can do whatever during this, but the most people what I have been seeing there are not quick fixes, because we did something kind of, it's not our fault, but we kind of did something that caused it. We were addicts. We didn't want this, we didn't know this, but it just happened. So time is the best healer. So then when the good stuff started to come, I always write them down. So in the good windows, I was feeling like more energized, and I didn't have anxiety. And then when I started to feel more better, I was just feeling that I'm more calm. And that was like something that kind of was the really, really, really good thing for me. Just feeling more calm, because when you are caffeinated, at least for me, I was never really calm. I was always a little bit on the edge, or if somebody was like arguing with me, it was really hard for me to stop arguing or say I'm sorry. Now it's so much easier, and it's not always easy, but it's so much easier, and I'm just feeling calm. No anxiety, no OCD, no nothing now. But even when I started to have a little bit those windows, it was like I started to notice that I'm just different. Like I don't have that irritation or pain, and of course the energy was high when I had those good moments, but it was never lasting the whole day. So then in my good moments, and I have a period, like I said, in a 2.5 years when I started to be more active. I went to the gym. I was even starting to do a little bit tricks like handstanding and stuff that I did before. I was starting to have a little bit more physical strength, so I started to able to gain muscle. But then I had also that tsunami wave in my 35 months when the anxiety hit me, and that was of course really hard. You know, I have been sharing that in my channel. So like I said, it was a roller coaster ride. But even if you have waves that you can feel that you were already improving, and then some symptoms will hit you, you have to remember that is healing. That is not a setback. It feels like a setback, but setback is bad word in that way that it's not a setback. It's just like the recovery goes like this. It's not like, ooh, like I would want it to go like this, that by month you just feel better and better, and then you're done. But what I have been experiencing and what I have been seeing people experiencing, it's actually like this, the recovery. It is and that, and this and that, and sometimes bad waves, and then the windows, and one day it's all over. It's normal. Either way, your brain heals. Even if you don't have waves and windows, it's normal. I have been watching many of those benzo quitters videos. Some of those heal like they don't have so much windows, and they still heal. And then some people have waves and windows. So in a waves, of course, symptoms can be so much more intense, and like feel that, oh, I'm never gonna get through this, and oh, I had this and that, and you are always just Google searching symptoms, and always just your mind is just rambling about things and teeter-totter, but that's normal. That's just normal in this. So yeah, in the beginning, the mornings was just horrible. My head was so stuck. Now I wake up happy. I can just take a little bit water and go to the run. Not run or walk, whatever I want. I can do that. No problem. But in the beginning, oh my goodness, it was just hard. I had panic attacks when I wake up. Just terror. That's normal. It will go. So yeah, then in the second year, it was like my second year is more, it was mostly of those, I still had those stomach issues, eye issues, depersonalization, poor memory, insomnia, headaches, brain jabs, very low energy, low motivation, fatigue, tension pains, heavy legs, dreamy feeling. Then also I had lots of memories coming back. I was really sensitive to stress still. I couldn't like still work out like normally. Every workout did cause me more pain, more neck pain, and more flare-ups with those symptoms. I had some panic attacks even in my second year, here and there, not all the time. But the good days, I felt very peaceful. I had good energy, good motivation, and I had more happiness and no worries when I had a good times. And then 2.5 years, it started to really like go better. Like tiredness and fatigue was on and off, not so bad. Anxiety still on and off. Sometimes I had a lot of hopelessness, especially during my periods and ovulation. I still have lack of my imagination and creativity. Sometimes I did have that, but not all the time. It was never like constant. And I had eye itching and night awakening and sleeplessness. But then, like I said, after 3.5 years, it have been that's just going better. I haven't had any bad waves after that 35 months wave. Sure, some ups and downs, but nothing to compare what I went through, and nothing to compare that bad wave. So just know that either your journey is like, either it's that 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, some of us more than that. For me, completely healing, I'm pretty sure that is the 5 year. Like I know that because it's other people have said the same who have gone through that, they have been symptom free. Even after 5 years, some people have been just saying that it even gets better than that it just, after that, even you're symptom free, it just gets better and better. So I really believe that so too. That's how I feel now. It just gets better and better. Even that where I am now, I don't have anything to complain, but it just gets better and better because your brain, your brain will make those new connections, those new neural connection will also grow there in your brain with time. Your brain is neuroplastic. It makes new connection. It's like a tree that makes a fruit. In the first 2 years, it doesn't make necessarily so much good fruits, but in the third and fourth and 5 years, it starts to make more those fruits, and those connections just works better and better, and then you just forget all this, but you don't go back to drug anymore, for sure. You just don't. So what I usually think and see that why people relapse, and some people have been even writing to me that they are happy that I'm sharing this information, because some people, okay, this also happens for some people, they quit caffeine first time, they don't have puffs, then they quit caffeine second time, surprise surprise, they have puffs. So that can also happen. Then also there is a people who they start to go through this journey and they get a little bit better, but then they start to think that it's something else. Oh, maybe I have COVID, or maybe it's something else, and they don't wait long enough, so they go back to the drug. So they don't completely heal because they didn't wait long enough. Also, one thing that I started to do in my channel, I started to, this is another thing, but I started to translate this book called The Poisoned Needle. It's a book written by Eleanor McBean, and it's in 1957 year, and it's very anti-vaccination book, and there is a lot of like those health risk of vaccines that have been already noticed back then. and a lot of stuff in that book. And because I don't believe that there is any viruses, because never there have been found in any viruses. But that's another topic that I will do also more videos in the future, hopefully in English too, because now my videos haven't been like removed, which is pretty amazing. Because before, when I was trying to speak about this vaccine topic, which is really, really important topic, which is going now in our world, that those vaccines have been killing so much people and doing that all the time. Even it's been like past 3 years since the pandemic, but still those vaccines are killing people all the time, and new pandemic are coming, which is all bullshit if you ask for me. But anyway, so of course I don't recommend anyone to take any of those poisons, like, because those poisons can cause people a lot of stuff. And this is not to scare you, this is just like, I think a good advice if you don't have to take them. Then if you already have taken them, like and you don't have nothing happened, that's just really good. It's good for that. But for me, I didn't never take any vaccination. Only vaccinations that I have been taking was when I was a child, and my mother put them to me, and then when I was school in younger, some of those I have taken. But for me, it's just really scary things, all those vaccinations that have been going on. And I have been wanting to share this information because I think it's so important, the times that we are living. And I also have in my Discord a lot of information about that topic, that no virus and vaccine injuries and stuff like that. So if you are interested about that, I recommend you to also, if you wanna like read that kind of stuff, it's in my Discord. But of course, there is also the caffeine quitting support in the Discord. And every Sunday I will be in 7 p.m. every Sunday in my Discord in voice chat. If somebody wants to have a voice call, I just will be there every Sunday in 7 p.m. Finnish time. But I will always put you information before I am there if you are on Discord. So there you can also, like, if you sometimes want to just like chat or you need support, just know that I'm there. But yeah, but that was like the main thing. I was forced to quit caffeine because it was starting to give me panic attacks even though I have high tolerance. Yes, yeah, me too. I did really have a high tolerance for sure, but you know, it still is a poison. So in that way, even I know it's really hard for you right now, but in that way we were kind of fortunate because it's not good for anyone. And like I said, like, even I was a functional addict, but having those intrusive thoughts, depression, I have told you that in my early 20s, like I was 19, I was in a mental hospital because of intrusive thoughts. That's how bad I had then when I was younger, those intrusive thoughts. And of course they did put me in SSRI medication, and I did have back then some benzos. But one thing that I did then when I was young, I was in benzos sometime, not very long time. I did cold turkey benzos because I didn't know about all this information that are now. Then I didn't even have always access to internet back then. So I didn't end up having pause with benzos, thank God, because I know that many people have had those even with more or less use than I was. But that just shows us that we shouldn't compare to each other. But I wasn't in benzos long time. Also, I think that was the reason, and I just someday I realized that I have to quit them, so I cold turkeyed them, and I did cold turkey all medications after that. But many people do have this pause and bind with benzos, so just it's just like something that we have to go through. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I have been now speaking, but I just wanted to do this kind of live where I just reassurance you and tell you about these symptoms. Speaking with those symptoms, for me now, it doesn't scare me anymore. I don't think that I'm gonna not have any bad waves. What I do think that maybe I will can have some little flare-ups maybe here and there, who knows. I have heard that some people have had little flare-ups before their 5 years, like just a little like hump, anxiety hump, not any like bad, but just little like, you know, hump that you feel that still your brain is doing something. But that doesn't worry me at all. I haven't also heard that anyone that I know in this caffeine quitting stuff would have had really bad those bad tsunami waves, like more than once. Like in the beginning is of course the first one, but what I have been heard, those people who, not everyone will have that tsunami wave, but those people that I know that have had that tsunami wave where your symptoms can like come more intense, I have heard that have happened to them only once and not after that. And people who have healed, they seems to just live like happy life. So I'm not worried about that. And I just want to say for you that whatever you are going through and the symptoms comes, that you will get through those, because you have already gone by so far where you are. Either that is like 5 months, either that is like 12 months. You have to like trust that you are already get through where you are now. The same thing will continue. You will get through further and further, and until the symptoms are gone. And just try to somehow go through your days, and you don't have to do anything more. And also don't watch any negative stuff in these times that we are living. Like I know even in my channel I'm a for some people I'm a conspiracy fan, yeah. Not fan, but I am like interested about a lot of things that many people think that they are conspiracy stuff, but for me it's like just very important normal stuff. So even some of my videos can be overwhelming, and I don't recommend, just watch the videos because when you are in the bad state, you cannot save the world. You don't have to save the world. We cannot save the world anyway. So you just like do your own thing. Go through your days, that is enough. There is nothing more that you need to do. Eat, drink water, stay alive. That's my advice for you, anyone who have this bad stuff going on, what comes to symptoms, high anxiety. Later, when you heal, you have so much energy to do all stuff. And like for me now, I'm just very interested about translating all those books and the like investigating topics that I'm interested, like that no virus stuff, and that's all very like interesting to me. It's not something that I'm scared of or not like that. It's actually like I just have a lot of like motivation, which I'm really happy, because in this journey I didn't have single motivation. I was just like a living dead shell, not interested with anything. Like I was just like, you could give me $1 million or something like that, and I would just say, yeah, it doesn't, nothing. I was praying God to take me away from here, because there is no use to me to be here. But no, there is. We need to be here, and we all have our own missions here that we have to do. And yeah, so just keep up the good work, and you know, Discord is always open to you if you wanna come. And yeah, that's about pretty much what I wanted to say in this live. I haven't forgotten you. I know that many people are going through this, and you don't even have to comment where you are. Like, just know that I haven't forget you. I am thinking about you, and even I'm doing now a lot of other stuff. It's not that I'm just forgetting about this and no more supporting caffeine quitters. No, it's not gonna happen. But sometimes I do also now other videos because I have that motivation. So, and that's good thing. That's good sign. And you will also see that how much better I have get during these years, and doing more stuff than I could imagine to do. So please keep up the good work, and I will wish you so good evening and all good. It's gonna be better. You're gonna heal. You really do gonna heal. So bye bye.